Brad, I can't start recording until I've found a way to make fun of you. So
I know.
Do something funny.
I feel like this needs to be louder.
Manhandling the microphone is not what I meant.
Just because I'm a man, anything I handle is manhandled.
You're a man?
I'm half the man
I'm half
I
the
used
man.
to be.
I'm half the... You're not even half the man you used to be.
I'm half a man. Whatever. You don't have to insult me to start a show.
Leave that up to me to decide.
Have you listened to any of our shows, Brad? No, I haven't.
I don't need to, but it sure does make me feel a hell of a lot better.
It's a sad time for movies.
What does that mean?
It means that I don't know. You feel positive towards the award season movies, but I'm starting to get. I mean, not that the summer movies are the greatest, but I do enjoy some of the fun, like the movies. Some of the movies we saw more of the beginning of the summer. I feel like a lot of the good fun movies are out of the way.
Well, you know what's going to happen is, since they're not releasing a Marvel movie every 3 months like they did the last year, building up to Avengers 4, or what was it, 3? Avengers 3. Now we're left with all the other movies that come out in between superhero movies, because they're not releasing I think, is it Captain Marvel comes out in 2019. There's nothing coming out. So we're not getting a whole lot of, like, popcorn thrown our way. We're getting popcorn thrown our way, but those movies like what is the one with the submarine from the Olympus Has Fallen team?
Yeah, I already know I don't want to see that, because then when it says from the people who does Olympus Has Fallen, like, I saw the first Has Fallen movie. I don't need that in a submarine.
I saw the first Has Fallen movie.
Yeah.
Well, so what we get are, like, the dramas, the drama movie, the dramas. You know what I mean? I'm saying drama.
Yeah.
Maybe if I just keep saying drama. But, the Academy Award things.
Far, I'm seeing better movies on Netflix and Hulu than I'm seeing in theaters. I mean, the past couple, 2 or 3 months.
Well, the season hasn't really started yet. I'm going to say that A Star Is Born is the first of the, you know what I mean? The first of the thing. Yeah. And the fact that they're releasing it early means that they think it's could be commercially successful, and also maybe a Best Picture contender.
I guess we already transitioned into talking about it. Let's just start the show, I guess.
Yeah, Movieisms.
Yeah, Movieisms.
Yeah, they know what they're listening to.
You know what's going on.
They know what they've gotten themselves into.
You click the button, you're here. Why do we bother?
Yeah, they know what they've gotten themselves into. So, A Star Is Born,
I think you got me too excited for it. I bought into everything you were saying about the movie.
Holy fucking shit.
How great it was going to be.
Back up. You were just as enthusiastic as I was. I didn't ever say, hey, Brad, get amped up for this. You were like, this looks great. And I was like, I know.
Because every time the trailer came on, you would just glow about it. And you would talk about how the trailers, they're not even trying to pitch something to us. They're just playing scenes from the movie, and it's a different scene every time.
Yeah.
That's gotta mean it's good. It looks so good. I bought into your hype.
So I bought into my own hype as well. I think...
It's your fault!
I think that maybe...
Which one is mine?
That one's yours.
Okay.
We're not talking about penises.
Right.
We're talking about beverages.
We would know. Never seen. Anyway. Let's not go. Continue. Stars Born.
You couldn't just let it lie at... We're not talking about penises.
I couldn't let the penis lie.
So
no.
I was... And we've talked about it like for 3 weeks in a row now.
Yeah.
We have talked about A Star Is Born a lot. I was getting excited about the movie, and I still am excited about the movie. I don't think the movie was bad in any way.
It was great.
I was just, even going into it, I started thinking, is this movie going to be able to live up to what I want it to be? I was as excited about this movie as many people are about seeing Avengers 3. Like, this is the type of movie that I get amped up about. And the trailers did make it look like it was something special. The things, the believe in yourself, you gotta plant your feet and believe in something that, and stand for something you believe in, or you're gonna lose your way. All that stuff that's kind of like hinted at in the trailers strikes me from the inside. I start thinking, it's like, oh, this movie is about something. This movie cares about something other than making money, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's about artistic expression and about you got to do what you think is right, or you're never going to be happy. All those existential things.
And speaking of the artistic part, found out that what is it, Bradley his name?
Cooper.
Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. Does she have a real name? She's just Lady Gaga.
No, her parents named her Lady Gaga.
No,
yes, she has a real name.
But do we know
Stephanie
what it is?
something. I can't remember her last name. I just call her Gaga.
Anyway,
I'll look it up.
If we said Stephanie, no one would know who we
No
talked
one would
about.
know, yeah. In fact, when Bradley Cooper is in interviews talking about her and he calls her Stephanie, it's Gaga. Her real name is Stephanie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was awesome to learn that they both co-wrote the songs. If they didn't write the whole thing, they worked with people and wrote the songs that they were going to sing and perform. It felt like everything meant something. Every song that was sung when Lady Gaga was up there singing a song, it felt like she was authentically feeling those things. Like she was, the first time the character went up on stage, she sang and performed it as if I felt like that was her first time in front of all those people. The way she sang it, and then at the end, looking embarrassed and putting her hands over her face, and then even, I won't talk about the end in case you don't know the story, but even when she sang a song at the end, I was like, okay, she is channeling a real place, because those are authentic tears, that's an authentic performance. So I feel like because they wrote the songs they were going to perform, it had a personal meaning to them. Well, when they sang it, It was the performances. Whatever we came out feeling about the movie, the performances are just top notch, 5-star, great.
Yeah.
The scenes. I mean, even Dave Chapelle.
Yeah.
Captivating. The words he said were like memorable.
He's basically in 2 scenes, and when he's on camera, he is stealing the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how good he is. So her Lady Gaga's real name, by the way, is Stephanie Germanotta. She's Italian. Oh. So here's the thing. When I was the songs are all original. All written by, like, Bradley Cooper wrote his songs. Lady Gaga went off and wrote her songs. So they are songs written from a real place that were inspired by the moments that were needed and intended by the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everything is very true. Everything feels true and real and authentic, and the characters' interaction and their chemistry together is top-notch. Like, their chemistry, chemistry, the way they're drawn to each other in the movie feels like very natural. It doesn't feel forced. Yeah. It doesn't feel like when you watch a romantic comedy and you realize that the only reason these 2 people are together in the beginning is because the script needs 2 people to be together. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like that.
Every moment feels like they're actual people saying these actual things and feeling those things. There's never a moment where you feel inauthentic or fake. It seems it's so. The performances are so good. It's got to be nominated, even if it doesn't win.
Yeah,
the performances were amazing.
So the acting is it's got, first of all, it's got Bradley Cooper, of course, Lady Gaga, Sam Elliott. It's got Dave Chapelle. Andrew Dice Clay is in the movie. He's not in any of the trailers that I didn't recognize him in any of the trailers.
The best acting I've ever seen from him. I've seen a lot of things Andrew Dice Clay has done.
And it's weird because he's so playing
good.
it seems kind of like he's playing a version of himself.
Yeah.
But it's a real...
Like the dad version of
version of Andrew Dice Clay, yeah. And the movie is emotional and true. It's like about real things.
Yeah.
It's about don't let the good things that happen to you go to your head. Don't let the bad things that happen to you
take over your life.
Yeah. Bradley Cooper. So Bradley Cooper's character is a famous musician. He's got a band. He's a famous songwriter. I would say country blues type of music, not necessarily. He's not like twangy, hey, get my tractor country music, but it's like almost like folk music, Americana. You know what I mean?
When you get my tractor,
yeah,
music.
not songs about his dead dog and all that stuff. It's I
ran over with my tractor.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not like that, but it's weird because his character has risen to his level of fame and fortune, but he's almost like he's got imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
You know?
He's
like
not
he's
happy.
up at the
he
top.
doesn't believe the shit. Like
he doesn't believe that he almost believes he doesn't believe. It's almost like he doesn't believe he deserves to be where he is.
Yeah.
So he spends his time punishing himself, drinking his feelings away, and he meets this girl at a drag bar performing. She's like the one actual female that they let perform there because they love her there, and she's performing this thing, and they have a moment which I have personally experienced with actors and actresses before. Like you're watching them do their thing, and you have this moment where it almost feels like they're looking right at you, and you in that moment click with that person, and you feel like you know them in that instant.
Yeah, it's almost in a weird way. It's like you fall in love with them for a moment without actually falling in love with them. But it's like, I see you, and that is a connection.
Yeah, you can talent and ability and someone being on stage and doing what they do without fear in that moment is very attractive.
Yeah.
It's easy to fall in love with somebody that you see doing something like that, bravely standing up there and just putting their soul out on display. Like actors would refer to it maybe as leaving some blood on the floor. You know what I mean? And so we had that moment of catharsis with her. It's a stage performer term, like sharing a moment of catharsis with this actor. And since he was who he was, he doesn't struggle with the insecurity of just going up to her and start talking because he's used to being able to talk to anybody.
Yeah. Plus, he's drunk when he starts talking to her. So
right, he's
all like touching her. Can I touch you?
Yeah, it's in when you see it in the trailer, he just reaches out and touches her nose, and she's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And they have that great conversation about how, my nose has really been the source of a lot of my problems. And he's like, I think your nose is beautiful. And he's basically just giving her permission to love herself and to trust herself. He's trying to. For the whole movie, it's like he sees her. And she's never been seen before. Mm-hmm. And she sees him for the troubled, anxious, self-loathing person that he is. So they snapped into place with each other, and he helped her see that part of herself that took her to the top of fame, that starts her on her trek towards being a star.
It's almost like she was waiting for permission to be her best self.
Her best self, yeah.
And so he gave her permission, and then even though she sticks with him, she's loyal to him through the whole movie. You almost as soon as she's up there, as soon as she has her first moment, you sort of feel like, okay, she doesn't need him anymore. That's all, you know.
Yeah, except she also sees him for what he is, as a true artist, brilliant artist, who has possibly lost his way a little bit. She, feels connected to his true self.
And she knows he's better when she's around, so she feels like she can't abandon him or leave him alone.
But everybody in life has, well, eventually, hopefully at least, you meet that person that basically gives you permission to be yourself. Some people don't need permission to be themselves, but other people, introverted people or insecure people, or, sometimes need the little boost, like somebody to say, you can do it, go do it. And that little tiny little moment gives you, where somebody else says, go do it. And you're like, yeah, I can do this. And you go off and do it, and you take a chance on something, you take a risk on something, or you put yourself out there in that way, can change your life. And all you needed was that little, just like, bit of encouragement that, for one reason or another, because it's not like Gaga's character, Allie, it's not like she wasn't around people who didn't believe in her, because everybody loved her. Everybody thought she was great. Everybody thought she was brilliant. But she needed somebody from above, somebody she looked up to and respected, to give her permission to be herself. And then when she did, it clicked, because she's like, oh, these people who are not singers and not my family and all those people, they were right about me, except I didn't really believe them because they didn't know what they were talking about. This guy knows what he's talking about, so now I can go off and do this. And it's amazing because fear of success, fear of failure, all that stuff is like, fear is blocking people from doing the thing. And this movie is really, it's very inspiring in a way to watch somebody work their ass off, bust their ass on this thing, and have it click because of things that have nothing to do with art, nothing to do with your music, your writing, your movies. Like, we make movies. It has nothing to do with that. But it's like, you can hold yourself back. Like, the only thing falling into place is the fact that you finally let yourself try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like, it's a weird thing, but I think everyone has a fear of success. And we're subconsciously are always looking for reasons to not take those risks and take that chance. And it's like, oh, I got a life, I have a life, I have kids, or whatever it is, or I should be doing this, or I'm good at this, or because we like, even though we're ultimately in the long term not happy being comfortable. But we do, it's that, like that Pavlov's dog, I think, maybe, it was on the nail, it wore a spot on the porch so much that it exposed a nail, but even though it bothered him, he just he's comfortable in his spot, so he just dealt with the pain because that was his spot. So I feel like the sort of like fear of success to me is like, it bothers us to be here, but we're comfortable and we don't like change, so we'll just stay here. And it was great to see her. And by the way, at first she did commit. She was like, no, I got to do my job, whatever. Mm-hmm. She goes, and one thing, the guy says one thing. He says, you're late. She's like, okay, that's my excuse to go.
She just needed
take a chance.
She just needed.
She said, I quit, and then I was like, yeah.
Life. That's why I like movies like this, because it's really about A Star Is Born and being famous and getting famous but really it's about life, because
taking a risk.
And taking a risk. What happens is this works with, like, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not giving medical advice, but it's like depression, anxiety, Like those things, after you've had them for a while, some people who are truly chemically imbalanced and have depression, it's hard for them to snap out of it sometimes, even when they're medicated, because for their whole life, that depression has been their buddy, their friend.
Yeah.
They know that no matter what, they will always have that depression there, that sadness or whatever. And it's hard to let go of that, because if you choose to be happy, or to put yourself out there, or to show you care, or to try, and you say, I'm going to do this all on my own, choosing to be happy is so hard, because if you admit to yourself you want this thing, and you put yourself out there and you go get this thing, what happens if you mess up and you lose it again?
Right.
Because you can't fall back you can't go back to, well, my depression's always been my friend. You've put yourself out there and you've shown that you care about something, and now you're just out there flapping in the wind with it. That's why fear of success is a thing.
Yeah.
Because if you get up there, it's like love. You want to fall in love with somebody. You want to admit you are in love with somebody or something like that. You start to admit that you want those things, and then you reach this like ultimate happiness. People are afraid of what happens if that goes away again. Then where am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So ultimately, fear of success really is fear of failure.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, what if I try it and completely fail, and then I won't have this job to back me up, or people will think I'm an idiot, or
And that comes out in art a lot, because a lot of art or creativity or writing, any of this stuff, it just comes out. It shows up in your life. Your day-to-day comfort zone, going to your job, it gets in the way of the thing, and you have to find you have to get there's a balance you have to get to, but at some point you're going to have to jump.
Yeah.
And because otherwise you will be that person where the only place they get to perform is in a drag bar in the middle of nowhere, where nobody knows who you are except the 50 people that are in that place, and they think you're great, but you're unknown to anyone else because you haven't given yourself permission to go out there and do it.
For me, the only thing that the only reason I'm here doing this show with you or doing anything productive is because I'll flash forward into the future, and I will say, if I don't try this, fail, succeed, whatever, I'm gonna look back on this and be so angry and depressed at myself. I'm gonna be furious that I didn't try. Yeah. I'm gonna say, well, I am now because I didn't try. So I just got, I got used to. I've failed a lot at many things. I've just got used to failing because I realized that that's the only way you will succeed. A lot of the people that have succeeded by failing first. Most people, if you hear their story, they had to fail before they could succeed.
Yeah, I mean, the cliched story is Thomas Edison with the light bulb, but every successful person says some version of, I failed up.
So
I failed and tried again, and they got a little bit better. Then I failed again and tried a little bit. So they failed. It's like a series of failures that led to success.
Yeah.
That leads to basically an overnight success.
So you basically just have to say, look, I'm going to be okay with, I'm just going to get comfortable with failing because I'm not going to give up until I get this thing that I know, become this person that I know I'm supposed to be.
Right. Yeah. So,
we're talking about all this stuff because I believe that that's like what A Star is Born is ultimately about.
So when I say it's about life, very deep down inside of there, it is exactly what these are the things that watching this movie made me think about.
Right.
So when I say this type of movie is sort of like my soul food, it's because I like pontificating or thinking about this stuff. We're talking about this stuff anyway. It's great when we can talk about it in relation to a movie because...
By the way, this is why we came up with movieisms. This is a movieism, like a movie, infecting your life or, what do you call it? Not narrating your life, but informing your life.
Yeah.
When you're like, yeah, that's like, this movie was like life, or, you know. Yeah.
So the performances are great. Bradley Cooper directed the movie really well, and Sam.
Can you believe, how did he do all that stuff, man?
Well,
it makes you jealous as a filmmaker, I think.
Yeah. Well, he co-wrote. First of all, he's Bradley Cooper, so he's been around this stuff for years, and he's worked with some of the best filmmakers. So if he knows 5-10 years ago that he wants to direct, he's paying attention. You know what I mean?
There's an evil part of you that says, "You asshole! You made all the songs. You sung it.
Asshole.
You acted brilliantly, and you directed it. So it's like." Yeah. You might as well have edited it, did all this, you know, it's just like, you asshole.
He says that he's not really a singer.
He sounded great.
He sounded great. His voice, he sounds like a singer. And when he's talking, he doesn't sound like the Bradley Cooper.
He sounds like Sam... By the way, I wanted to bring this up.
Changing his voice.
He sounds like Sam Elliot, and there's a part in the movie where Sam Elliott's character says, "You stole my voice."
Yes.
And I'm like, yes. Bradley Cooper stole Sam Elliott's voice because that's what he sounds like the whole movie.
The scenes with Sam Elliott, every scene Sam Elliott is ever in, you just like, I wish this scene was longer so you could watch Sam Elliott do what he does.
That's what I call gravitas, because when he's, even just for like a minute he's on there, he I don't want to say steals the scene, but he is the scene when he's
you're watching. Anytime he was in a scene with Bradley Cooper or Gaga or you're watching him the whole time.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he's so still and quiet in his performances, and you can't even really see his mouth because his mustachio is so low. It's like, you know, and he's just like
it's almost like mumble talk.
Yeah, he's got such a deep, heavy, weighted voice that you can't not listen to.
I got to a point where I was thinking, is it the mustache? Is the mustache so thick that it's blocking the words coming out of his mouth?
It's just, and not just in this movie. He had another movie come out earlier in the year.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
That was called.
I've been seeing it on Netflix, I think.
God, what's the name of that movie?
It looked like a Western or something.
Well, he's a movie star. He plays a movie star in this movie.
He's always wearing a hat. It's like when someone talks to him about being in a movie, I feel like he's saying, "Well, you know,
well,
I'm going to be like this, otherwise I won't be in your movie."
He's known for his in this movie that he's in, which is called The Hero.
Right.
He's known for playing a cowboy, sort of like a John Wayne character.
It's on Netflix.
And he's so good in the movie, but he's just still in the moment. He doesn't ever seem to feel like he needs to move his hands or do more, like physically do more. He just sits there, and his voice just like sucks you in. And that's how it feels in this movie watching him. But Bradley Cooper, you're right, they sound a lot alike in this movie. Well, Bradley Cooper is lowering his voice to be closer to Sam Elliott. But he's also got that gravelly, like, this movie was also played by Chris Christopherson in the last version of A Star is Born, who also has a lower voice. So it's something about the character that sort of has that gravelier voice. But Gaga is good in the movie. Like, I know she's not an actor. She's not known for being an actor. The best parts of her performances are when she's singing. Like, you feel the songs, like when she's singing. The other parts, you're almost bedazzled by her because it's like, oh, she can act too, and she's
so authentic and so cute when she's on screen.
Yeah.
They did a great job of making you fall in love with her. I should give that credit to Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper did a great job of seeing everything beautiful in her and selling us on that in the movie.
Yeah. The movie has... so, we talked about all the stuff that...
He forced her to take the makeup off, and I don't want to say forced, but he's like, convinced her to go without the makeup and have her natural hair color. And he even told me in an interview that she had to go a couple months without makeup and all that, just so she could be comfortable enough to do that in the movie.
Yeah, even though that's her. Yeah. She said, here's what she said in the interview was that, yes, I had to get comfortable being without makeup, or the blonde hair or anything like that, because she sees that as the real her. The Gaga armor is the makeup, the hair.
Yeah, that's the mask that she puts on.
But the true her is what she said. That's not me. That's Allie, which is the name of the character in the movie. So
that's not true, though.
Well,
that's the real her.
But that's how she sees it.
Yeah.
She.
I love the real her.
Well, you know,
not the Lady Gaga her.
Well, you know how people change themselves to be how they feel.
I guess she's so much more beautiful without the Gaga, without the makeup.
That's your opinion.
It is an opinion, yes.
It is an opinion. But that's not her opinion, though. She feels more like herself when she's dressed up. I don't
respect her opinion.
I'm sure she gives a shit what you say. I'm sure she...
I just felt, dude, I'm still in love
Yeah.
with that woman that I saw in that movie.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, see that woman, even her height. I'm short, in case you can't tell by my squeaky voice.
Hey, everybody, it's Brad!
That guy sounds weird.
Okay, gonna do the podcast like this now.
I can't believe you actually had a conversation with someone about how my voice sounds weird on the show.
So, yeah, a student of mine listened to our show, and they're like, who's that other guy, who's that other person talking with you? And I said, well, it's the co-host, Brad. Is he talking like that on purpose? And I said, he wishes it was on purpose.
Yes, I wish it was on purpose.
So we talked about all the stuff that I love about the movie.
So why was it not as great as we thought it was going to be?
Here's what I think. I think that possibly there could be many reasons, but the movie is... I felt like I never really got to sink into a scene because they were so efficiently shot and edited.
True. A lot of the scenes felt like you went from one thing to the next thing and you didn't have time to sit. It just is
like a straight line to the end.
Right.
And the movie is over 2 hours long. It's like 127 minutes or something, so it's a little over 2 hours long. So my guess is the movie was longer than people wanted it to be, and they had to find a way to cut it down. So what they did is they get in and out of scenes so quickly that by the time you start to feel what's going on, you're on to something else now.
Yeah, they're on to the next thing. Like, or the next, whatever the next natural progression would be after what you just saw, they just get right to it. But I hope that when the DVD comes out, there's some kind of 15 or 20 minute longer director's cut that kind of lets it breathe a little more, because it felt rushed.
I was having emotional...
It's weird. It's a 2-hour movie that felt rushed.
Yeah. It really does. It felt like they sped along. We got to get to this, got to get to this, got to get to this, got to get to this.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make it bad. It just made me feel like I couldn't grab onto it before it was over.
Yeah, it's like you start, just when you start to settle in the scene, and you're
over.
like, I'm really starting to enjoy this. Okay, next scene.
And most of the time, that means it's very well written. And the movie is very well written. But most of the time, scenes being short and brief and you get in and out as quickly as possible is a good thing. But for this, there was a moment where he's sitting there talking to Dave Chapelle, and the camera just sits on Dave Chapelle.
It didn't cut.
It didn't cut. For the whole, not the whole scene, but there was a long moment. And I felt that scene so much more because it's like right there on him, and it sits there for a minute or something, and you can feel the interaction between them, and it wasn't damaged by efficient editing. You know what I mean?
Well, we got to remember the line because I felt it hit home when he said it. Dave Chapelle finds Bradley Cooper's character just lying in his yard, like in the bushes.
Yeah, Dave Chapelle said, I love my life.
Yeah.
I didn't know how much I loved my life until I found you out in my front yard sleeping in my grass.
Right.
He realized how much better he had it than he thought he did.
Yeah. He was talking about how, you got to reach a point to where you got to figure out that you have where you are and you have where you want to be, but somewhere in between, he's saying, you sort of realize, kind of like you get on a plane to go somewhere, but you have to stop on the way, but then you got to stay there for a day, then you end up staying there for a week, and then years later, you realize, well, I really just love being here. I don't want to be in the other place. He said all that, and he says, but I didn't realize I loved being here
as much
until I saw you lying in my yard, so thank you.
Yeah, stupering drunk.
I immediately, because you and I joke a lot, so I immediately was like, yeah, that's me for you.
Yeah.
Mike, I make you happy.
I can't ever get too sad, because there's Brad right in front of me going, at least it's not this bad for you.
Yes.
Yeah, great, thanks for that. I can't even have a pity party. So I was having emotional reactions to the trailers, and I'm not even kidding. I was tears in my eyes watching these trailers and thinking about what the trailers were projecting the movie was going to be. And the thing is, the movie is what those trailers are. There's nothing fake in the trailer. Yeah. But the trailers are it's like a mashup of all the emotional shit in the movie.
All the great moments truly are in the trailer.
And it's not even that. There are great moments, but they're hinting towards all the great moments that the movie might have in it.
Right.
And those things are in there, but since it's like A, B, C, D, E, it's like this, and you never really get to sink into it and sink your teeth into it. So
I have to say, I think if we never saw the trailers, it might have been a better movie to us, because we wouldn't have seen all the good stuff already and been used to it.
Maybe. I don't know. I do know that I did screw myself a little bit with like wanting this movie to be everything I wanted it to be. So I still think it's a great movie. I think it's going to get nominated for Academy Awards. There's no denying that it'll get nominations, especially for music and especially for performances.
Isn't it up for musical awards? What are Grammys? That's musical awards, right?
Grammys are for we just had the Grammys.
But
Grammys are for recording artists, not necessarily movies.
Okay, but Lady Gaga's a recording artist,
right?
And they made original music for the movie.
Maybe, but we just had the Grammys like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but it would be for the next Grammy.
It can be. You asked me if it's up for the Grammys, and I don't know.
I just think it could be.
Well, it could be, but
anyway.
Really, the ultimate would be for one of these songs. Probably the Shallows song, the one you hear from the trailer. Ah, yeah. That song that everyone calls the Ah, yeah, yeah song.
I love
is probably going to get nominated for Academy Awards, stuff like that.
Everything Lady Gaga sings is just...
Yeah.
A couple of the Bradley Cooper songs are good, I think are good, but the movie is never better for me than when she's singing on stage, because it's just like everything.
I will tell you this, that for me the movie is never as good as when they are on stage together.
Oh, when they're on together.
Yeah.
Those moments seem so authentic.
So real.
We listened to the song in your car, even after the movie was over, they sort of replayed the song a little bit. And like when you see them sing the la 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 la, and it sort of felt like it looks and feels like they're doing that on the spot, and he started doing it, and then she's following him, and then they come together doing it in sync at the end of that moment. And so, but you have to think it had to be planned, because they're. It's a movie. Everything was pre-planned, but they performed it in such a way that it looks and feels live in the moment.
Especially, the movie is worth seeing just because of their on-stage presence together when they're performing.
Yeah.
Their chemistry together off stage is also good, but the scenes of the songs that they're performing together are worth sitting in, because you feel it. You can feel the happiness they have together.
Yeah.
The characters. You can feel the characters' happiness being on stage together.
And I would tell you to buy the song. Like, you and I come from an age where you would buy the album.
Yeah, where you buy the album.
When you love the soundtrack to a movie. But nowadays, you just pay for iTunes, or you rent your music.
Apple Music,
and listen to whatever. So it's weird, but if you, this is the kind of album that I want to own all of those. I don't want to rent it. I feel like I want to buy the CD or buy the MP3.
CD? What the fuck is a
CDs
CD?
I feel like, do they even... They're at Walmart, right? Those are those things at Walmart?
Well, Best Buy stopped selling CDs like just a few months ago.
You remember, it wasn't like 15 years ago where we would make trips to Best Buy to go look at CDs.
On Tuesdays when they released new music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're old.
We're old.
Okay.
So,
but you want to own the music.
Yeah, but it's like
so good.
Apple Music is like Netflix for movies. Do you feel like you need to own any of the movies you see on Netflix?
Some of them I do.
Okay. I have that urge to own movies every now and then, too.
Yeah, but you realize it's a waste of time now because you just want to press a button and have it be there.
I've gone through Amazon and iTunes and all those places and Netflix and watched movies that I own on Netflix just because it's easier than going to dig through your... I mean, we're sitting in front of hundreds. I have hundreds of DVDs and Blu-rays, and that's not even all of them that are sitting behind us here.
You should pull them all out and put them back.
What I need to do is catalog them alphabetically, because I have so many that I have. I'm going to say 2 whole bookshelves of DVDs that I've acquired, DVDs and Blu-rays. It's hard to find anything because they're not categorized.
Yeah.
But Netflix, iTunes, and Amazon are all categorized. You just enter in the first 3 letters of something and it pops up. So much easier to find that. I won't rent something that I know I own.
Yeah.
But I spend more time looking through on Amazon and Netflix to see if the movie I want to see is on there than I would spend walking to the bookshelf, just so I don't have to put the DVD into the DVD player, blah, blah, blah.
It's weird.
So
everything's digital.
So my only complaint in this movie is that it feels rushed, even though it spans over a good significant portion of time. However, the moments and the things the characters say, deal with, and go through, and survive through, and suffer through, feel very real to me. They feel true. It feels like a true movie about life, love, legacy, like existential things that are sweet spot material for me. I love movies that are about that.
The thing is, I guess, it's sort of like, I have 2 things I want to say. Like, one is that it's not, for reasons we may not necessarily be able to perfectly quantify, it's not a 5-star perfect movie, but it's definitely 4-star, 4.5, whatever. It's definitely, I would recommend everyone see it at least once. It's good, and you should, let's say this. There's nudity in it, and there's even a full frontal flash of Lady Gaga, so don't bring your kids. I remember a kid sat right beside us, and you were like, do these parents not know what they're in for here? Because, you looked into, I guess because you always think, is this a movie I wanted my daughter to see, so you look to make sure. This little kid got to see, Lady Gaga.
It's sort of incidental nudity. It is rated R. Well, I knew just from watching the trailer. At the end, it says this movie is rated R for substance abuse and nudity, and there's a couple of language, substance abuse, and nudity. So I knew that there must be some kind of nudity in there. I didn't really look it up. The nudity itself, it's not like crotch shots.
It's really quick
or extreme close-ups of anybody.
If you're not looking for it,
it's what they would call incidental nudity.
Yeah.
It's like people are in bed together, and you see a flash of a boob or an ass or something like that.
I do want to say on this topic that I feel like there was a, you know how nudity gratuitous. I feel like all the nudity that was it seemed like incidental and just, there's a nipple coming out of the bubbles, whatever. But it felt like there was an unnecessary gratuitous scene when he left the bathroom, where she stood up out of the bathtub, and it cut to the door as it was open and then closed. Yeah. So it was like, it was long enough to, for a second you could see everything. Yeah. So it just felt like completely unnecessary.
It was all blurry. It felt...
But why even have it?
It felt like
it didn't do anything. It wasn't a reason for it.
Yeah, but
it felt gratuitous.
In life, when you're with somebody, you have moments like that where you're arguing, and it doesn't matter that you're naked. You stand up to have an argument, and you're naked, and you're sitting there. But it is not. You can't even make anything out. Like in the moment, I
just thought that one moment, the full frontal part, was gratuitous. Everything else seemed natural.
Okay.
I feel like it didn't. If it wasn't gratuitous, it should have been up longer so you could. I know that sounds weird.
If it wasn't gratuitous, it should have been there longer so you could see it better. Is that what you're about to say?
It wasn't up long. It was just unnecessary. It wasn't up long enough to mean anything. Yeah. So why was it there? Is my point.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I wasn't there when they made that decision.
I guess what upsets me is because when it gets on streaming or whatever, then it's going to be a freeze frame on the internet that people can Google.
You know what?
I think that's why I'm bothered, because we don't need. I mean, does she even realize since we let that in the movie, now there's a freeze frame of me, and it doesn't do anything for the movie or help tell the story?
Gaga is a theatrical
artist.
Listen to me. She's released things where she's butt naked before. Yeah, so she's not as uncomfortable with her nudity as you are. Yeah.
I think of myself as an artist. But
you don't need to get naked, though.
I think there was no reason for that.
This is why we're glad you're a writer.
And it's just going to be a freeze frame.
This is why we're glad you're a writer and not an actor, because no one needs to see the full frontal shot of you.
It will never happen, ever. There will be a digital... If you ever think you see me naked, it's digital. 3D.
3D.
Someone drew that.
3D.
Yeah, it's never gonna happen.
Thank God.
Yes, I agree.
Good things can happen. Well, that's it for our review of the thing. Like I said my piece about it. My only real complaint is that the movie feels rushed at times, and I didn't get to sink in, and it never really hit that emotional sweet spot for me, because right about the time it's like gong, it just cut to something else. Yeah. I was fully expecting to cry throughout this whole movie. Like I was kind of hoping for that catharsis, but it did never happen. I got tear up a little bit because these are emotional things happening, but it didn't. I didn't get to the emotional dump that I was expecting.
I think in a metaphorical sort of way, it was almost like watching a comedy where a lot of the scenes you didn't get to the punchline before it cut to the next joke that they started, and you're like, what? I felt like I knew where the punchline was going, but I didn't get to the punchline before I went to the next. Yeah.
And in many ways, it's not even wrong. It's like a perfect movie in a way.
Yeah.
But there were some parts that I didn't want to be perfect. You know what I mean? I wanted to sit there and see the ugly cry. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's it for this week. Next week we are likely to be talking about Venom, which we still haven't gotten to see yet. So I think it's
gonna be that movie 45-minute bitch fest.
That movie may make us cry
about everything that angers me and you.
That movie might make us cry, but for different reasons.
I'm going to tell you why, as a Venom and Spider-Man fan, how it just destroys everything, and it shouldn't exist. But
one of the highlights of my week was on Wednesday when I finally saw the Rotten Tomatoes 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. That I got to send it to you as a text message and with a circled in red. That was the highlight of my week.
That was a true dick move.
Your reaction to that. In fact, I wasn't even thinking of being a dick at the time. I was like, well, here we go. Let me just make sure he's seen this. And your reaction to it was hilarious. Oh, why would you even tell me this? Like, I don't want to.
Yeah. I was like, because it's one thing if we do it on the show and we can get a laugh, but when you just text it to me and I just sit with it, That's just a dick move.
Oh. So we'll know why it's not
We'll tell you why Venom sucks next
week. Yeah, next week. So if you saw Star is Born and have any opinions about it yourself, send us an email. Hit us up on Twitter, on Instagram. Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to continue the conversation with you guys online.
You can go to facebook.com and you can there's a messenger app in the Facebook where you can just message us there.
Yeah, sounds great. Until next week, we will see you at the movies.
The end.
Bye-bye.
This was the press ending.
Bye. Movieisms is a production of Super Mega Ultra Entertainment and is produced by Michael Bekemeyer and Bradley Kingston. If you'd like to find out more, follow us on Twitter or Instagram. And make sure you click like on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/movieisms. If you're enjoying this podcast, please take a moment and give us a 5-star review in iTunes. It only takes a minute and it helps us out more than you can imagine. Thank you very much, and until next time, we'll see you at the movies.